How you doing? Paul Begley here. Okay, Julian Assange is finally going to get to go home. Well, I guess not. He can't go home. But he does finally get to walk out. He's been released. He's finally out of a British jail where he was held for 9 days where he's set in solitary confinement in a 6x9 cell, 23 and a half hours a day, with no access to telephone, internet, newspapers, magazines, communications. Just sit there. Just sit there in the dark, Julian Assange, because you're a threat to the world. According to Scotland Yard, Interpol, according to the government of Sweden, according to half of the Middle East, according to the United States of America and the State Department, according to Hillary Rodham Clinton, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and a host of others, you're a dangerous man because of one simple reason: free speech, posting the truth, finding information, whether who leaked it, how they let it get out of the Pentagon, how the State Department let it get out the door. Nobody's asking the question, who let it leak? Instead, we want to shoot the messenger, and in this case, it's WikiLeaks' founder, Julian Assange. So, I don't know. And what cowards they are at Scotland Yard. What cowards. Making it such a big deal about getting this. This guy turned himself in. They couldn't even find him. Here's how good Scotland Yard is. When Sweden finally posted that they had an arrest for his a warrant for his arrest, they went to Interpol, who called Scotland Yard. And Scotland Yard, would you please go find him? They couldn't find the guy. They couldn't find Julian Assange. Instead, Julian had to actually turn himself in to the British police. Here you go. I mean, wouldn't you hate to have it if they was actually looking for a mass murderer? If they were actually looking for a criminal? If they was actually looking for somebody who was a threat to society? Now, I understand some of the information that WikiLeaks has its hands on is so sensitive and is even possibly dangerous to our national security. I believe that Julian Assange has enough sense to decipher and to determine which of that information he should probably hold back. Matter of fact, he even called the State Department in America and said, I've got the information. Would you like to sit down with me and decide which is okay to release and which isn't? Which has a national security implications and which doesn't? They refused the meeting, and instead Eric Holder is trying to build a folder on how he can bring espionage charges against Julian Assange. Now, the Attorney General of the United States, Eric Holder, has several hundred people now pulling together files and information and documentation and questionable operations so he can receive more revelation from the information. He's trying to put together files and folders against Julian Assange. I'm glad he's free. I think there's an old gospel hymn. It's, thank God he is free, free, free from this world of sin. I mean, it's an old gospel hymn. Well, let freedom ring and let freedom of speech be free. Let me hear your comments. What's next for Julian Assange? Will he be extradited to Sweden? Will they try him for rape, which he really didn't do? He just had sex with 2 women in the same week, breaking a 114-year-old law, which is illegal in Sweden. And he also had sex with both these women consensually without a condom, which can be interpreted into rape in Sweden. Or will he just be there and all the wrangling legally, tying him up, stalling his time, holding him in jail cells until he can be extradited to America to face espionage charges? I'm Paul Begley. Clean up your own house. Clean up your own house, America.